The story of the Ottoman Empire is one of the most powerful and fascinating chapters in world history. Spanning over 600 years, this empire rose from humble beginnings in Anatolia to become one of the most formidable forces the world had ever seen. In this documentary, we'll take you through the rise, the golden age, and the eventual fall of the mighty Ottoman Empire. Our journey begins in the late 13th century, around the year 1299, when a tribal leader named Osman I founded a small principality in northwestern Anatolia. The region was once part of the crumbling Seljuk Empire, and Byzantine power was weakening. Osman saw an opportunity and began expanding his territory. His warriors, known as Ghazis, were motivated by both religion and conquest. From these humble beginnings, the Ottoman Empire was born. As the Ottomans expanded, they used strategic military tactics and formed alliances with local leaders. One of their biggest advantages was their use of gunpowder, which was still new in warfare. Their early military victories laid the groundwork for rapid expansion into both Europe and Asia. The formation of the elite Janissary corps also gave the Ottomans a unique edge. These soldiers, taken as boys from Christian families and trained in strict discipline, became the empire's most loyal and deadly force. By the mid-15th century, the Ottomans had grown strong enough to challenge the last vestiges of the Byzantine Empire. In 1453, under the leadership of Sultan Mehmed II, the Ottomans launched a final assault on the Byzantine capital, Constantinople. With massive cannons and a brilliant military strategy, Mehmed conquered the city. The fall of Constantinople marked the end of the Byzantine Empire and the beginning of a new era. The city was renamed Istanbul and became the capital of the Ottoman Empire. The conquest of Constantinople sent shockwaves across Europe and the Islamic world. It transformed the Ottomans into a dominant world power. Over the next century, they continued to expand their territory, moving into southeastern Europe, the Middle East, and North Africa. Under Sultan Suleiman I, the Ottomans took control of the holy cities of Mecca and Medina, becoming the spiritual leaders of the Muslim world. But the real height of the empire came under Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent, who ruled from 1520 to 1566. Suleiman was not only a powerful military leader, but also a brilliant administrator and lawmaker. He expanded the empire into Hungary, Iraq, and North Africa, while at the same time reforming its legal system. Under his rule, the empire enjoyed a golden age of culture, science, and architecture. Istanbul became a center of Islamic learning and civilization. During this golden period, the Ottomans developed a highly organized government system. The empire was divided into provinces, each governed by officials who reported directly to the Sultan. Trade flourished across the empire, connecting Asia, Europe, and Africa. The Ottoman navy dominated the Mediterranean, and their armies were feared across the continent. Art, literature, and architecture thrived under Suleiman's patronage. Mosques, palaces, and public buildings were constructed across the empire. However, no empire lasts forever. After Suleiman's death, the decline slowly began. His successors were not as capable or ambitious. The once loyal Janissaries began to interfere in politics, becoming a corrupt and self-serving force. Internal power struggles and court intrigues weakened the central authority. Over time, the sultans became more isolated in their palaces, relying heavily on advisors and eunuchs. As the empire entered the 17th century, its military power started to wane. European countries like Austria, Russia, and Spain began pushing back against Ottoman advances. The balance of power was shifting. The Ottomans lost key battles and territories, including in the Balkans and Eastern Europe. Meanwhile, European nations were undergoing industrial revolutions and exploring new trade routes that bypassed Ottoman lands. Economically, the empire was also suffering. Inflation, mismanagement, and corruption drained the treasury. Local governors began acting more independently, weakening central control. At the same time, nationalist movements began to rise within the empire. Ethnic groups such as the Greeks, Serbs, Armenians, and Arabs sought independence from Ottoman rule. The 19th century brought a series of reform attempts, known as the Tanzimat, aimed at modernizing the military, administration, and legal systems. While some progress was made, the reforms were often blocked by conservative factions within the empire. There was a constant tug-of-war between reformers and traditionalists. These efforts were too little, too late. Foreign powers saw the Ottoman Empire as the sick man of Europe. Russia, Britain, and France began to exploit its weaknesses. They carved up its territories through war and diplomacy. Egypt, once a powerful Ottoman province, fell under British control. France took Algeria and Tunisia. The Balkan states gradually broke away, fueled by nationalist uprisings and foreign support. One of the final nails in the coffin came during World War I. The Ottoman Empire sided with Germany and the Central Powers, hoping to regain its lost glory. But the war proved disastrous. The empire faced defeat after defeat, and internal rebellions further fractured its unity. The Arab Revolt, supported by the British, was especially damaging. The Ottomans lost their control over the Arab world. During this time, the world also witnessed the Armenian genocide, a dark chapter in Ottoman history, where over 1 million Armenians were systematically killed or deported by the ruling authorities. This tragic event left a permanent scar and further damaged the empire's global reputation. After World War I, the Allied powers occupied Istanbul and other parts of the empire. The Treaty of, in 1920, effectively dismantled the Ottoman Empire, dividing its remaining lands among the victorious powers. The empire, once vast and powerful, was now reduced to a shadow of its former self. But the story does not end there. A new leader emerged, Mustafa Kemal, later known as Ataturk. He led the Turkish War of Independence against both foreign occupation and the remnants of the old Ottoman regime. His victories led to the abolition of the Sultanate in 1922 and the declaration of the Republic of Turkey in 1923. With the fall of the last Ottoman Sultan, Mehmed VI, the empire officially came to an end. The caliphate was abolished, and Turkey began a path towards secularism and modernization under Ataturk's leadership. The rise of Turkish nationalism replaced centuries of imperial rule. The Ottoman Empire had lasted over 6 centuries, ruling vast territories and influencing the world in culture, religion, architecture, and politics. It left behind a complex legacy, one of glory and greatness, but also of decline and tragedy. Its mosques, palaces, and libraries still stand as a testament to its grandeur. The story of the Ottoman Empire is more than just history. It's a lesson about the rise and fall of power, the need for adaptation, and the consequences of resisting change. From Osman to Ataturk, from a warrior tribe to a modern republic, the Ottomans left their mark on history forever. And so ends the story of one of the greatest empires the world has ever seen. The rise and fall of the Ottoman Empire,